I think we are live. So hello, everybody. We are the Three Pentacles. Obviously, we're going to wait until we get... Okay, I'm echoing on myself.
It'll be because of... Hang on, we need to mute the...
Oh, I know. Yeah, I've got it. Yeah. I've muted YouTube. But hopefully that's not muted me to everybody who's watching. So if there is anybody watching, please let us know if you can hear us.
It's not kicked in yet. So as soon as it does on my screen, I'll mute it.
Okay. So is there anybody there? 2 people are watching. Oh no, that might be Claire and Sharon. So bear with us. This is our first YouTube live.
Still says waiting.
Mine's showing up with all 3 of us on. But I am streaming it, aren't I? So yeah. Let me know when you 2 can see it. Sharon, you're muted.
Oh, sorry. It's very delayed, but it is on.
Okay. So if anybody's on, let us know. And shall we make a start introducing ourselves? I guess for the people who watch this on record, otherwise they're hanging around.
Yeah, you go for it. You go for it.
Go for it. So we are the Three Pentacles. This is our first YouTube live. Hopefully one of many. We're planning on going live every Monday at 7 p.m. GMT time. So do join us each week. We're Sharon, Claire and Rebekah. We're 3 friends who decided to ditch our 9-to-5 corporate jobs and build our dream businesses. And we thought we'd come together as the 3 of Pentacles, because if you don't know, 3 of Pentacles in tarot basically represents what us 3 are doing and have been doing for... How long have we known each other? Well, I've known Claire for absolutely ages because we've worked at probably 3 or 4 different companies together. We seem to always follow each other to each company, and now we've both left the companies and we're running our own business. And I've known Sharon probably a couple of years, I think. So we, the 3 of us, often come together to pool our experiences, share how we're running our businesses, and just generally collaborate on different things, which is why we're called the Three Pentacles. I'm just going to see if we've got any comments. Not yet. And what we're going to do on this first YouTube live is just share our story with you, how we kind of got to where we are. So I'll start with me. So I've had a 15-year corporate career in IT sales. That was kind of my main career. And in the last 5 years of that, I would say I started to get a bit fidgety, feeling that it wasn't what I was supposed to be doing. And I did actually start a counselling course because I knew that I wanted to do something for the rest of my life where I was helping people. So I did start a counselling course and did that for about 3 years. And then the push got stronger and stronger for me to leave my corporate career. It was getting unbearable doing that kind of work. And it all came to a head on June the 10th, 2021, which is a date I'll never forget.
And it's my birthday.
Claire's birthday.
I will never forgive you.
Yeah, and I was working at the same place as Claire at the time. And I had no plans to actually leave ISOSEC, and I had not started my business yet. So in terms of me leaving my business, I did it without really having a plan and thinking about it, which wasn't very sensible. So I don't recommend it. But on June the 10th, 2021, which was also Cancer New Moon, as well as Claire's birthday. I just had this, it was a horrible feeling that if I didn't do anything on that day, then I was just going to get more and more miserable. And I remember going for a walk to try and stop myself from handing my notice in, but I just ended up crying, and I came back and I was crying to my husband Gary, and I said, if I carry on doing this, I just can't do it. And would it be okay if I handed my notice in? And of course he wasn't really very happy about it. Gary had just had a brain bleed, so he wasn't working. I mean, it was a really financially silly thing to do, but I literally did it. It was like I was just being pushed to do it, pushed off that cliff on the full card. So I handed my notice in, which is crazy. And then I didn't look back from that day. I set Libra Lights up. So in June of this year, that'll be 2 years I've been running Libra Lights, and it's just gone from strength to strength. Absolutely loved it. And it's also enabled us, because I try to do everything online, to travel. So I'm currently in Spain, and I've been traveling in my camper van whilst working online. So it actually turned out to be a brilliant thing to do. But I did it the scary way with no plan and just jumped off the cliff. So that's kind of my story. I don't think I've missed anything out. I've probably missed out what I actually am and what I do. My company's called Libra Light. I am an Akashic Records practitioner. I am a master spiritual life coach with a energy psychology diploma, and I'm a quantum holographic echo practitioner. So those are the 3 services that I offer. I run webinars with Sharon once a month. And yeah, it's been full steam ahead, and I absolutely made the right decision, even though for the first couple of months after I'd handed my notice in, it didn't feel like it. Okay, I'll hand over to Claire. Do you want to?
I'm going to segue in there, because I'm just laughing to myself, because I'm now at that situation of like a couple of months out of the corporate world and thinking, what the F have I done? Like, what am I doing? So like, by no means mine was planned either, but the universe had its plans for me. So I'll share about that in a minute. But yeah, as Rebekah said, me and Rebekah know each other from our corporate backgrounds. She worked in sales, I work in marketing, and I've been doing that since early 20s. Love marketing, love the process, actually loved what I did, but in a similar position as we do, we climb that ladder and we realize actually this isn't quite resonating for me anymore. And you missed out, Rebekah, that also I've always had this little pull. I remember when I was a kid, I was thinking, I want to set my own bit. Before I knew what an entrepreneur was, I was always saying, I want a cake business. So I was doing little businesses as a kid. So yeah, and then sort of I was into my fitness. I was doing health and fitness coaching at one point in my life as well, which Rebekah also did with me. So yes, we also, as well as working in corporate lives, we sort of started doing some online fitness coaching, really. So we dabbled in that, didn't we, together? And I think that was sort of the start of realizing, coming together out of the corporate world and realizing, what, we've got I don't know if we can swear on this. We've got a load of skills between us. I bet one day we might do something together. Anyway, so we continued to work together, didn't we? Like in various roles. And then Rebekah sort of left that world, and then I guess I sort of jumped to my journey this time 2 years ago, because this kind of all then comes to like a bit of a tipping point. So yeah, it was sort of a year into lockdown. I wasn't loving my job. I was personally on my spiritual path for a good few years, and just had this real calling to do something with it. I was meditating, I was doing yoga, and I was sharing a lot anyway. Like a lot of people tend to come to me for some advice, and I was like, oh, actually, I'm doing this, I'm teaching. So I didn't have a clue what it was going to be, but I was like, I'm just going to hand this over to the universe. I'm going to see what comes. So I go by a name called the Geeky Goddess, and this was just born 2 years ago out of an absolute love and passion to share the path that I was on, chat to other people. So I then started getting a lot through Instagram. So I just started showing up on Instagram, connecting with people, and then the lovely Sharon was one of those people that I came across and bought some crystals from her. And I used to do something called soul chats once a week on my Instagram and go live. So basically like a podcast, but yeah, just through Instagram really. I started running women's circles online because I missed those in person. Since then, I've done cacao ceremony training, so I hold cacao ceremonies. I'm now doing goddess dance parties. So for me, it's like getting out in person, getting out in community again was a real big thing for me, and getting my confidence up to do stuff in person. But now this year, I just feel like online and doing things like this as well to sort of, you know, build that community out further is really important. So yeah, so jumping over together. So yeah, 2 years ago, started the Geeky Goddess, and that really has just been a bit of a passion for me, passion project, until I was on a yoga retreat in November. Similar to Rebekah, I was just really, really finding it hard. You know, as you go on this path, you know that all these things that don't resonate for you anymore, really struggled with it. And we'd been to an event, which maybe we can share about in a bit when Sharon's done her intro as well. But I'd been on a yoga retreat in November, and I set the intention at that retreat to let go of what no longer resonated with me. And a big part of that was my job. And yeah, I wasn't really ready to let that go, but it let me go. So a week later, I was made redundant. So not by choice, but as soon as it happened, I was like, oh, just the weight. I was like, you know what? That's fine. Like, obviously, it wasn't like it was, but I just knew. I was like, okay, well, I'm not just going to go and look for another job. I'm going to set my own business up. So, as well as the spiritual business, I'm setting up my own marketing consultancy. That's another story. But yeah, my main purpose is to share my skills and build my own business and not rely on the cogs of the big corporate machine, which is fun 2 months in. So yeah, that's where I'm at the moment.
Brilliant.
I love that. And before I start my story and like where I've come from, I don't think I've ever told Claire this, but my page, Spark Up Your Light, was just another passion project. It was just something I started for myself to be doing something for me. So I got, like, my spiritual journey began in, I'd say around Christmas 2019, but it was like something changed. I knew life was, I was in like a really low place, tired mum of 3. And I remember in the new year, someone asked me what my hobbies were. I was having a reading, actually, a psychic reading. And at that point, I didn't even believe in psychics. I thought they were like con artists. I didn't know anything about spirituality, but it was, I'll share that story another day. But just even the process of getting that reading was so bizarre. I didn't even know how the number ended up in my phone book. I don't know. I was like, was I drunk? Was I out? And how is this number? And it said psychic in brackets. So I was just kept calling to me. So anyway, that lady asked me what my hobbies were and what I enjoyed doing. And I didn't know. I was so lost. I was so drained and tired. And I was just so busy just being a mum and surviving. And she just really made me think. And she planted the seed in my head that I would be good at Reiki. And I didn't even know what Reiki was. And then I remember getting off the call, and a few days later, Googling Reiki, but I never could find like a proper website that I trusted that really explained it to me. So I kind of just left it and I let it go and then I started my Instagram page purely for me. I was inspired by Rebekah Campbell's book, The Work Your Light, where there's a bit in there where she encourages you to spend 10 minutes doing something that is just joyful to you, not for anyone else, and not for your children, not for your husband, and not for the family. So I started the page, and it was just, I never showed my face. It was completely anonymous. And I used to just take pictures every day of something that made me smile and something that made me happy. And it was flowers, and I started buying crystals again. That led into the Etsy shop where I started selling the crystal tea light holders. And then that led me to make candles and add crystals in them. And Claire bought crystal from me. And I remember I started following Claire, when people come up like suggested pages. So I just started following her. We used to chat and used to leave her comments. And then she asked me for some citrine. These are the first crystals I bought. And at that time, I wasn't selling like individual crystals. And I was like, oh my God, this is working. Like someone wants to buy crystals. Like I had only crystal candle holders on my shop. So I literally ordered them for her and then like just laid them out and took a picture and said, which one would you like? And everything has just grown so organically. And like both of you, got to a point where in my job, like after having my third baby, really wasn't looking forward to going back to work after maternity leave. Whereas after the boys, I was in such a different place. It was just all I knew. I couldn't wait to just get back to work. And it was a career that I had worked hard for, done a lot of training for. And just nobody around me understood like why I would, go to uni, do my master's, be in this job where I've done all this training. It's quite a specific role. And then just not want to do it anymore. And people say, you're so lucky to have the job that you do. You're so lucky to get paid for what you do. And I'm like, yeah, but it doesn't light me up. It just couldn't like carry on living that way. And yeah, so financially, I couldn't. I was like, right, no, my income is the stable income. There is no way I can leave, but like obviously chewed my husband's ear off about it on a daily basis. So as soon as he told me we were okay, and if I wanted to leave, I could leave. I think I spoke to my manager within a couple of days. And everyone was it was just happening in such a nice way. Everyone was really lovely and understanding. And yeah, but I thought and I wasn't sad. I'd been there for 10 years, but I was so ready like to move on. And the funny thing is that since I've left, I've been really quiet. I think I got more quiet on social media. And it was I just took a break and I've just had time. And literally today is Monday. And it was the day that I was like, right, I'm getting back into it. So this came at the perfect time to just like get back in the process of actually working. But it's like work that I love doing. Like today I spent taking pictures of crystals and things like that. So yeah, I love it. So when the ladies asked me, when she said you'd be good at Reiki, and then I studied Reiki, became a Reiki master. I did a crystal course with Kyle Gray. I learned all about angels, and I manifested so many free courses. And I was financially so tight. I was like, well, I want to learn all these things, and things were just coming in, and I was just a sponge, and I felt so alive. I was like, I had 3 kids, but I was still managing to get all these courses in because it was just, I was so passionate about it, and it never made me tired. And I was happily taking the little one up for a nap because I can just play a module of something while she falls asleep. So, and here we are, like nearly 2 years later. And I met Rebekah because Rebekah saw the chat that I had with Claire, where in Claire's soul chat, where we were just literally like this, just chatting. And Rebekah asked me if I would like to teach crystals with her on her webinar. Like, no, it was your course, and it was just one session about crystals. And I was like, I can't do that. I don't know. She was like, well, I've heard you talking and I've seen your page and you've got crystals and you know about crystals. And it was just literally 1 week was an hour. And I was like, let me think about it. And then, yeah, time I look back, and it's just sometimes the universe just pushes you out of your comfort zone and makes you do all of these things. And I'm so happy and excited. And it's still happening.
That is hilarious. I never knew that you didn't sell crystals at the time. So how crazy is that?
Yeah, it was just meant to be.
Yeah. And I guess this is just like, obviously from all our stories, and if anybody's I don't think anyone is live, but if anybody's watching this and thinking like, oh, it's all right for them now, they're like out of the corporate jobs. But as you can tell from all the stories, none of it was straightforward. None of it was really planned. Like maybe Sharon was probably the most planned, maybe, but none of us really felt ready for that change, I don't think, logically. But having that trust that like the universe has your back, that, you surrendered and you come to a point where that sort of that tension just has to break, and it will, and it'll either be your choice or the universe will make that choice for you. I think it'll give you a push. It was like, okay, off you go. No, we're not like you're going to try and time it all. But this is just like, I guess, just a bit of a word of encouragement. If you're at that stage where you're like, like so many of us are, like in these jobs that are just not fulfilling our soul, it doesn't mean that you have to monetize anything that you do love doing. Like Sharon said, you just start to tap in 10 minutes a day into something that you love doing, And who knows what can happen from that? You know, the more you start to then open up to the things that you love, then it's like, oh, right, yeah, actually, you know what? I could do this. I could do that course, or I could teach your work. Of course you could, like, because we've been doing it for lifetimes. So yeah, it's just like a little pep talk, like when none of us are, as you'll tell in these podcasts and these YouTubes, like none of us are perfect, none of us have got it figured out. You know, we're not here as like, we are the teachers and we're going to tell you how to build your business. Like, we'll be sharing our journeys, and obviously Rebekah's been in it a lot longer, she'll have a lot more tips and advice to give. But I also just love the alchemy of sort of, yeah, I think each of us have those gifts of, like, Rebekah, you've got a very strong, like I think, like a lot of masculinity doing, like, you made this happen, whereas I've been fapping around for years, like, whereas I'm just like feminine, and like I'm just gonna create and like just wait, you know, in the moment I can do it, but I find it very hard to schedule and plan and organize things. So thank you, Rebekah, for forcing us to do this.
Oh, definitely. I have commitment issues for sure. I'm like, yeah, I can say yes now, but on the day, I don't know how I'm going to feel. Am I going to be able to do it? But now I'm like, no, I'm doing this. I'm not talking myself out of it. I'm not like giving into that fear and the resistance, and we're just doing it.
Yeah, brilliant. So what about this Steve Noble event then? Because you two handed your notice in early this year, wasn't it? Or was yours earlier, Claire?
Well, mine was December. Yeah.
Oh, but you both left.
Well, actually, my final working day was the 2nd of Jan.
Yeah, but it was after a Steve Noble event, wasn't it?
Yeah, so you'd invite, because it was your birthday, wasn't it?
Oh yeah, that was it. Yeah.
And I, to be honest, didn't know much about Steve Noble. Not somebody I really follow, but you do, and you'd done a reading for him, hadn't you?
Yeah. Yeah, Akashic reading, and I'm a huge fan. I must listen to about 2 hours of his meditations a day.
Can you imagine
every day? He's like, can you imagine how inside my head now?
Can you imagine having him as a guest on our YouTube?
Let's manifest it. Let's manifest it.
That would be amazing.
And yeah, I've always wanted to go to one of his retreats. So finally, I'd booked onto one for October the 1st last year. It was in Brighton, and it was 5D, embracing the 5D energy or something. And then it ended up that Sharon and Claire came down, which was amazing. And you as well, Claire, wasn't it? We got to meet Sharon in the flesh. We'd only known her over.
Yeah, first time we met. Yeah,
we actually got to see the real Sharon.
Yeah, that whole work, the whole weekend was all about embracing your starseedness, wasn't it, and focusing and manifesting what you want. So at that time, I didn't know obviously what the girls were manifesting, but it did come up for me, obviously, my career a lot, and I actually wrote in my journal one night, like, oh, you're scripted. I think after it, like, scripting is basically writing a letter from your future self. And I was like, it's the 1st of April and I've just done my 3 months notice. Like, I already started like tapping into that energy of leaving my job. And I was trying to, like, you know, like, feel inspired from that event, but tried to control all the timings of when that would happen. However, weirdly, you know, if I actually did plan all this time in, like, my employment finished on the 2nd of Jan, and I've got, if I had actually given in my notice the day I said I would, my 3 months notice will actually take me up to the day that I scripted it was going to be.
Crazy, that is crazy.
So it's absolutely mad. Obviously, I didn't really, you know, I was writing all this stuff, and I was like, oh God, am I actually going to have, like, you know, the courage to do this? And like I say, the universe just sorted it out for me in the end, and then I copped out a bit. But yeah, thanks, Steve and Liz, for helping push that along.
That was an amazing weekend. Like, we did so much visualization, and I was the same as you, Claire, like visualizing my life, working for myself, like working when I want, working around my children while they're at school, being like present and available for them when they come home. And that was all the things I was thinking about. And I didn't think this would happen for me that soon either. But yeah, around Christmas time, my husband was encouraging me to leave before Christmas. And when I spoke to my work, they were like, you might as well get paid for Christmas. I was like, okay, thanks. But like, they knew that I wasn't, like, I've kind of mentally left. So yeah, technically, My last day, my first day of being unemployed was the 1st of February. And that was just in October. And when we were sat on the beach after the event and just like integrating it all and saying, this, we're going to do it this year. It's going to happen. Like you just feel that energy bubbling, like this is going to happen.
It's exciting. So now all three of us have left our jobs and we are building our businesses together, and it just feels like it's going to be something big for each of us. It's going to get bigger and bigger. So our plan tonight was just to go live for 30 minutes and introduce you to us and our stories. And then each week on a Monday, we're going to pick a particular topic. We haven't chosen next week's yet. And the plan is just join. If you have questions for us, you can put them in the chat. We'll answer them. So if you're like in a soul draining corporate job looking to leave, it could be helpful for you. Or you may have already left and you're building your business, then it could be helpful for you because you can ask us, you know, different types of questions in terms of how we've kind of set our businesses up. We're here for you basically, and to build a community of people who have decided to embrace the freedom that running your own spiritual business brings. And it does bring freedom. I'm sure you both agree. Do you feel freer?
Yeah, well, yeah, but embracing the fear as well.
Oh yeah.
It's the biggest spiritual lesson, isn't it? Of like, there's still quite a lot of fear there for me. But yeah, like today I woke up, it's Monday. I no longer have that fear and dread. It's like, you know, it has its ups and downs like any job does or anything does. But when you're in a place, in a space in your life where you can handle it, it does lead to more freedom, just freedom internally as well as all the freedom in life.
The biggest thing I notice is not worrying about, am I doing a good enough job for my boss? What's my boss saying about me when I'm not in the room? Like, I don't have to worry about that anymore. And that Monday morning feeling, I still was getting it like 6 months after leaving. So I decided to go and play golf on a Monday morning and not work, to get rid of that Monday morning feeling and just work a Saturday morning to make up for it. And it totally got rid of it. I loved doing that.
Do you know that astrologically a Monday is actually like a rest day? It's a self-care day.
No, I didn't know that.
Amazing. I'm sold.
So I love Mondays because you've had the crazy weekend. I can like ship my kids off to school and like take a breather and decide what I need to do for the week rather than like panicking about that on the weekend.
Yeah.
Like feeling stressed out that I've got like some work meeting, which I used to get a lot of anxiety towards the end, where I just felt like I wasn't going to know the answers to anything that they were going to ask me, or I was so behind on the cases, and I was going to get told off. And it's just, so Monday astrologically should be like a day off just for yourself.
I like it.
So it's nice we have these chats on a Monday.
Good point. Yeah, I never thought about that.
Yeah. Set the tone of the week. Going forward. Yeah,
definitely. So we've just about been 30 minutes. So shall we wrap it up there? And hopefully, if you're watching, join us again next Monday at 7 and ask us questions live, and we will aim to answer them for you. But thanks for those that joined us live. And if you do watch and record, #replay in the comments, please, to help us get visible. And if you could like this video, share it, and click on the notification bell so you are notified next time we go live, we'd really appreciate it. But that's it from us, the Three Pentacles.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.